Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Lior Student and I am a messaging specialist. And today you will leave this session knowing how to create a question-based agenda for each customer meeting. Now, the one rule about delivering a message is that it has to feel like a conversation for both sides, for the audience to be able to absorb what you're saying. Think of it like a ball that you're throwing back and forth, all the time back and forth. That's why a question-based agenda is so critical, because it's not a list of things you're going to talk about, but rather the beginning of a conversation phrased as questions that you will answer. And I will answer some questions for you today as well. So as we're looking at those questions, we're calling them promo questions. What are you going to use them for? So first, of course, there's the question-based agenda that comes first, right? Even before your discovery slide. You're going to use the same questions as transition slides, those bumper slides between sections with the questions in large font. You can use these questions, these promo questions, as slide titles. Slide titles phrased as questions are always more engaging. And finally, you will actually say these questions out loud. You will say them to the audience as if you're asking, like a rhetorical question, as if you're curious yourself about the answer. Here are some examples of what these promo questions sound like.
So what is the big change? What is the biggest change of our time?
So the question is, how are we going to fix this? Change these numbers at the top. How do we make this different?
What has physics done for me lately? I mean, do I get better color television? Do I get better internet reception with physics?
Some sample promo questions. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, can nice topics be turned into questions? Let's take a look. If we're taking a topic that will come up these days in every conversation, AI, how can we turn it into a question? This is the basic question. What can AI do for you? Any question that has the word you in it is more engaging because it feels like a conversation. But let's try to take it further. How can AI redefine your customer and contact center experience? Make them want to listen. Give them a reason to listen. These questions are about pulling them in. Let's take a look at the same topic of AI, but this time for agents. So AI, what can AI do for your agents? And how can AI redefine your agent workday? So you're making it a lot more specific because generic questions are just not interesting. They've seen it, they've heard it, not interesting. When talking about different solutions, in this case, for example, digital, instead of saying the solution, which is a generic label, you can ask what are digital channels, or you can even brand the solution, which always gives it more credibility when it's more specific. What can Fluent CX do for you, the customer? Or even more specific and engaging, how can Fluent CX decrease customer churn and increase digital adoption? Notice I'm phrasing it as a question, as if I am curious myself. And finally, there's always the differentiation question. So we can just have a topic, nice. Why nice? A little more specific. How is nice unique? But maybe you want to go as specific as why is nice the right partner for the future of your contact center? Sometimes if you know a customer specific pain point, you can ask, why is nice the right partner to handle agent inefficiencies, for example? Now, as we move forward, you can see that a lot of agendas that I've seen at NICE, not yours, of course, look like this, a list of topics. So A, too many topics. Whenever I see too many topics, I pick up this thing. It's a red flag that there's absolutely no focus. It's a data dump. That's what we call a data dump. We don't want a data dump. And often this is when someone comes and does a generic CX1 or CXI presentation and demo. So when I see the words overview or background, right, or executive summary, it's an invitation to go to sleep, and I'll wake up when you talk about what's relevant to me. Don't use these words. And you see, it's just a list of topics that mean nothing to them. Let's see how you can turn these into a more interesting way. Let's say comparison. So on the left, you see the generic labels, introduction to, overview on, the need, the problem, pain points, instead of just, or the challenges, instead of just naming them. Competitive analysis, innovation, scalability, and of course about NICE. Now look at the right side. Take a moment to look at these questions. Now I invite you to look at the beginning of the questions, because any why question, why is something happening, usually a problem? How can you do something, solve maybe this type of problem? What does it take to achieve something? How can you build something, do something, in this case, an exceptional customer experience? What does it take? How can a certain solution impact your contact center or your agents or your customer or your brand? Or how can you tackle your contact center inefficiencies? So you see how much more inviting and engaging questions are. Now, the only thing you have to keep in mind is that questions have to be short to be impactful. Long questions are hard to absorb. They're for the eye to reread. They're not for the ear to listen and get it for the first time. So keep them short. Now, what I often see is generic questions. So these are questions you want to avoid because they just feel like you do this for every customer meeting, right? How does NICE CX1 address your challenges? You say this to everybody, but if you name the challenges, it's already more specific. What does CX1 look like? Usually a question that precedes a demo, generic. Why are we here? What is the scenario today? What is your scenario today? How to resolve the problem, generic label, right? So this is not interesting. Generic questions. Not anymore. Now, I want to share with you a few of the agendas to give you a sense of what you can use as questions as you craft your own question-based agenda. So take a look at, first of all, the bumper slide. This is a transition slide. This is when I meant when you put the question, one of the questions in the agenda as part of your flow. This is a transition from section to section, and you will say it out loud. Why is NICE the right partner for the future of your contact center? Now, here is how I'd like to invite you to craft your agendas. First, have a question about a problem or a need, something that's one of their pain points. Why are your customers struggling to move between channels, for example? Then there is a question, maybe more high level, about CX1 or CXI. Then you would have 1, 2, or 3 areas regarding a specific customer pain points. Could be self-service, it could be digital. You choose based on your discovery. And finally, there's the differentiation question, the why NICE. And of course, you can craft it in lots of different ways. How is NICE unique, etc. Ready to see some examples? Take a look. What is the reason for disconnected customer experiences? What do agents need today to deliver exceptional customer experiences? How can sharing data across a unified platform connect the agent and customer experiences? That's one question-based agenda. Let's look at another one. This one is focused on self-service. If that's a specific area, that's a specific meeting dedicated to self-service, this could be an agenda. What does it take to build an effective self-service strategy? What can a trusted AI do for your business? How can you find new self-service opportunities? And how is NICE's self-service strategy unique? Look at another one. How are you preventing churn in your contact center today? How can you understand what's driving containment? How can you monitor your agents? So you see that every question here has a you. And also, I don't mind questions that sort of challenge them, especially when it comes to something they don't have. Can you really see something? Do you really know what's happening? Are you really preventing churn? So feel free to be a bit challenging. This agenda has 5 points. Sometimes that will happen. Usually I like to limit it to 4. How can you reduce agent scheduling costs? Can you proactively predict your customer behavior with relevant content? Can you make scheduling easy and flexible? Reducing average handle time increase your profitability. NICE unique. These are some sample question-based agendas. They're easy to craft, they're engaging, they invite the listener to think, to prepare for what you're about to say, and remember this, to have a real conversation. So my call to action to you is go before your next meeting and turn your agenda into a question-based agenda. Have fun.